Hey, look who it is. Hey, look it up. Keep trouble. Keep trouble. Oh. Yeah, daily. Well, if he was, he's football, so like, he's making sure he's not in trouble. So. We'll get you a list of all the football we have a team, so you can let us know. Because that's a big deal this year. All right, so there you go. The figure doesn't show up, but it's the one that's on page. Oh, what page is that one? It's the one with the medians. The medians. What page was median? I don't know. It's 361? Who's that? Oh, get your pages out. You need your pages anyway. Pretty sure it's on 361. Yeah. I feel relatively confident in that one. Because the other stuff was 347, 349, 351, 355. So Centroid should be 361. Medians. Oh, yeah. So you're actually sitting in Jeremiah. You good there? You actually put it in the card. Let's see about that. There happen to be some books left. What, you don't have them, or but you tore them out? Yeah. And I don't want you tearing more out. I'm running low on books. So for today, if you really want, all you gotta do is copy this. So if you may want to sit there to copy it because it's pretty small, but that's literally gonna be, once I go over it, that's pretty much the answer to at least half the quiz. And again, those figures don't have to be perfect. It's more about the name and then those 3 bullet points. I'm going to try to do the figure real quick. It would be helpful because the congruence marks come into play. Just when I'm not going to set a timer for you to copy or anything. Just when you're done, just kind of put your pencil down. Don't keep doodling. What don't need you to do? That's what you're copying. What was your question? Page. You're copying that. What I said is, I think I said that Centroid is on 361, but that's what you're supposed to be copying. So if you just want to look at the Centroid and try to refresh my memory, or look for the picture of it on 361. Again, the picture is not the most important thing. Understanding those bullet points is the most important. Ultimately, you would, I guess, have to kind of match it up. Well, no, you wouldn't even have to match it up. In the question, I'm going to tell you below is the centroid, or below, so I'll give you a figure and I'll tell you what it is about. So having a match up figure won't be easy. Eating class and drinking class. Of course, you probably didn't know we don't. Yeah, not supposed to do either of them. I have had stuff spill already this year, although I will say not as bad as years past. So my rule though is I don't want open drinks on desks. So if you want to put it in, I don't want it to get kicked, but if you want to like put it on ground up against the wall on another desk somewhere, but you, yeah, just these desks are not good for us. They're, if you don't know it, they're slanted and they're slicker than you think they are. So when something is open, all it takes is me walking by and bumping it, somebody else bumping it. Can't come up with anything good, can you? You're trying to come up with anything. Off. We're copying that up here. Or pour it in if you pour it in that.
No, I just drank it off.
Practice for college.
I'd say 8 points.
Where? For the red under Circumcenter?
Yeah.
Midpoints of every side, correct. It says the same thing for that and Centroid. They both say midpoints of every side for the red. They have that in common. This is hopefully going to help you understand what the differences are and what the similarities are.
That's the whole class, right?
Did you draw the figures?
I would count them.
Oh, you didn't have to. I'm just trying to. If you're able to do all that. Yeah, we haven't tried that. Now, I will say, a lot of girls have been coming out. So you're a little behind the curve, so we're gonna take into account that they've been coming out and working hard. But if you want to try out, anybody can try out, even if you've never ever said a word to me about like $50 on it. No, you don't have paperwork.
I've got people.
So you're gonna get all that done before the 6th. We're going to have to have it done. You're on there already.
I know, it's that fast. It sounds like you should,
The figure. Is everybody done with the Circumcenter and Incenter? Is anybody still copying those? As soon as they're done with that, I'll slide it down so everybody can use that. Don't mind me asking. Yeah, right around the corner. This is 6/11, Monday. Yeah, because the 7th is Tuesday, because that's when one of your deadlines is for your retakes. Tuesday. 6th and 7th, pretty exciting. Next week's our last week of conditioning. I know, you just got your stuff in. But again, remember, a lot of people aren't even coming out there, so even if you only do a week and a couple of days, that's more than a lot of people, so. What's the range? I so said that to you forever ago, and you didn't do anything with it, and now you decide you want to. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. We had 18 girls, I think, yesterday. Is that 18, I think? Do you remember me saying the number? I think it was 18 I counted this. Unless that was Monday, but I'm pretty sure that was yesterday. No, I'm sorry. I think 18 was actually Monday, because that was on the soccer field yesterday. I don't think I counted them because I got out there late. I would say like, because it's not always the same girls. There's some girls that are out there every day, but there's some girls that don't show up every day. So I would say total, as far as girls that have been to at least, we'll say 2 conditionings, probably had about 25 maybe. So not, I mean, we got 50 something girls, I think, that have signed up and have their paperwork in. It's a lot. We do different stuff, spins on the day. We do like some, you know what plyometrics means? Like a way to work out without weights, basically. So we do some of that kind of stuff. We do that on Monday and Thursday. Tuesday and Wednesday, we kind of take the day off from working out, and we do more cardio stuff and actually play some sort of football related games to help them get in shape, but also learn football a little bit. Because some of them have never played. 20, huh? Your name is 1/17/23. You got mixed up. Is everybody done with the top 2 now?
Let me take a look.
No. I'm not scrolling. All right. Do it the old fashioned way. There we go. So there's the Centroid, if you couldn't see that. So again, as soon as you're done with all of them, put your pencil down and we'll get started. We should still have a little time left after we're done today. Because I'm only going over this one here and then the brand new one that's not even on this one. I was putting together what I think will be our JV team, like based on the the girls that I've seen out there coming on a regular basis and girls that I know that I maybe play in other sports that I know I've talked to and stuff. We have a pretty good JV team. I think now some of you may make varsity, so I don't, maybe they won't all wind up being on. I could see 2 or 3 of the girls that I was thinking would be JV making varsity. Like there's a couple 10th graders that athletically are faster than the girls that are on our varsity. So we'll see. But if the people that I think are on there, we're gonna have a really athletic JV team. Some 10th graders, but a lot of 9th graders too. They don't really have to go to track practice. So once we're in season, right now we're just conditioning. Because we've already talked to the track coach. Once we're in season, we expect those girls to show up for flag football. Now they can choose to still do track, but then they're probably going to lose playing time. Because in football, it's a team sport. It's not like track. You can do your own training in track, individual. You don't have to be with the other teams. You can't do that in football. I mean, we're going to run plays. We're going to run like schemes that you have to know what you're doing, but also how that works with what everybody else is supposed to be doing. We want to teach you guys a lot more about football this year than we did last year, which means we need you there, especially on JV, since so many of the girls don't know football. Yeah, I mean, a lot of girls, they just want to play. You've never played flag football. Have you played flag football before? Well, flag football is pretty different than regular football. I mean, there are obviously a lot of things that are similar, but a lot of the rules are different. Certainly terminology is pretty similar, but there's different stuff in terminology also. But yeah, some girls probably don't even know a lot of terminology, even just regular. All right, so here's what we're gonna do today. I'm not doing anything with these two. We've done those numerous times. Oh, I will explain the why things are in different colors, since you probably weren't able to do that. In blue, that's how they're created. I wrote how created. So we create this circumcenter by drawing in perpendicular bisectors. So from every side, we draw a perpendicular line through the midpoint. That's a perpendicular bisector. So it forms a bunch of right angles. It also creates segments that are equal. And then once we create that circumcenter, every line from the circumcenter to every vertex is the same length. I've done that on at least one video and probably 2, so I'm not going to do any more on that. The main problems on that circumcenter, page 349, 7 and 8. And then there's also one on 347 that we all did together at the bottom of 347. Was I holding anybody? Go ahead. So now so the red is kind of like, what question could I ask that's not like a math question? It's more of an understanding question. So I could ask you something about congruence. I could say, okay, well, what segments are congruent in this figure? And I would tell you it's the circumcenter. You need to know that these segments are congruent. You would also, I might draw in the lines, or I might make you draw in lines. You could draw in lines from this point to every vertex. Those would all be congruent. And then the last thing, the thing in pink for all of them, I would say pink. I would say pink. Let's vote. Is it pink? Raise your hand. Pink. Remember, I grade your papers. Is it pink? Yeah, other hands are not. Look at that. That's funny. That's all I want to do. I don't care. Pink. So, it is funny though, when you look at a spectrum, when you're doing colors, the pink and the purple are all in the same spot. So they are very close. So, but it is pink. So on this is the math. That's like when I actually put variables and numbers in there, I'm doing it based on these things being the same distance. Also kind of based on the congruence too. I've already told you what the question is going to be for this, the math question. it's problem 7 and 8, or the example on 347. So I don't even need to, you don't need to guess about what this one's gonna be like. Those are the problems. These I haven't really specifically come up with what's gonna be on. Well, actually, this one I will pretty much tell you what it's gonna be like. This one I don't know yet. This one's a little different. There's not as much I can do. So for every single one, this one's created by angle bisectors. We take every angle and we bisect it. What is not drawn in for Incenter is that from this point here, out in a perpendicular angle, that wasn't bad. That is, those green lines are all the same length. Because the distance from that point to every side is the same distance. And we measure distance at a perpendicular direction. That's why we draw those lines in perpendicular, because we want to know the distance from the point to each side. And it's always the same for an incenter. That's probably where the math is going to come from, something like that. I could do something super simple that you better be able to get and just make you figure out one of the angles or the variable or something if you know both angles are congruent. Last one, which we're going to go over this one. Medians is how it's created. Midpoints of every side, because a median means that we're drawing it through the midpoint of the opposite side. Each median is in a ratio of 2 to 1. It is the geometric center. I'm not going to ask anything about that, but that's probably I could see that being on the EOC, like something about the geometric center. Which one of these is the geometric center? So that's just a memorization thing. Any questions? I'm going to go ahead and review this one real quick. What? Are you on? Are you still on the pink purple thing? I know. I knew you hadn't given up. Trust me. I knew it. I knew it. I am pretty hard-headed myself. So this is the median centroid thing. I've already kind of put it in. I'm not going to go back and drag them. I am drawing in a line or creating a line, whatever you want to call it, from a vertex. So from a vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. A little similar to what we did in the circumcenter. We used the midpoint in that also, but we didn't draw a line through the angles. We just drew a perpendicular bisector through that point. So just straight up. So it's similar. You got to know the similarities and the differences. So I do that for every single point. Let's use black so let's keep changing. So that's the midpoint. That's the midpoint. That's the midpoint. Well, if those are all midpoints, the example is write in the congruence marks that you can write in. Now there's no other congruence. We can't say that the distance from this to every side is the same. The distance to vertexes is not the same. There's no other congruence marks. But there is one more thing we can say. What's the other thing we can say about each median? Once we've created this centroid, what can we say about each median? Oh, I need yeah, let me hold on the phone so I don't. Say it again. So what is the ratio? So once we've drawn in, once we've created that centroid, it splits every median into 2 smaller segments. And by smaller, I mean, like if this is the whole segment, now it's split into 2 smaller segments. For every segment, those lines are in a ratio of 2 to 1. If you don't fully understand that, this is what you need to know. I'm going to write that in words in a second. If this is the short length, then this is this segment is twice as long as that one. So it's 2. That's what a ratio of 2 to 1. The longer segment is twice as long. You should have written this already. I'm going to write it again. I do this with algebra kids all the time. And if you are not necessarily super strong in algebra, it's a fantastic way to do word problem, or not word problems, like any problems that you have to set up. The longest segment, or really it's the longer segment. I guess I should write that. I want to be grammatically correct. Does anybody know why it's longer and not longest? Has to do with a really picky thing in English. What it is. Why do I say longer instead of longest? It is, but why is it grammatically correct to say longer instead of long? In this case, I'm saying this is long, the longer segment. That's the shorter segment, not longer. Close, sort of. No, it's so much simpler than all of that. You don't know, you probably guess it. Longer just means there's only two of them. If you only have two, then you have longer or shorter. If you have more than two, it's long. That's all it means. Which is why I think English is dumb. So anyway, longer segment equals two. I mean, you can confirm that. I think that's right. Confirm that with your English person. Yeah, I heard that one of the English teachers begun. Who is that? Oh, really? I didn't know she. I love Miss.
So her boyfriend got sick, and then she got sick, and then her daughter got sick. So they're all sick. Apparently.
My English teacher is a teacher. I still haven't got.
I might have heard that one. So again.
One of them is going on maternity.
That's what somebody was saying. So so I didn't write that this is for medians, but that's for the median. Once we've drawn in the centroid, that splits every segment. The longer segment equals, so when we say is means equals, twice means two times, and then the shorter segment. So here's how you do any equation. Let me finish this. Any equation, gentlemen. You guys are really too chatty. I'm rethinking this seating arrangement. So just keep it in mind, you're being tested every time you're sitting there. I mean, you've always sat there, though. So the longer segment is what? And I'm doing the red line. What's the longer segment? Two, right? Well, no, I mean, like literally what is it in the red line? It's two, right? So I would write for the longer segment two. The two times is part of the equation, so that's always in there. What's the shorter segment? Better come out to be the right numbers. 2 times 2 is 1, 2 equals 2. Now let's make it a little tougher. Because it's not. I hope you know it's not going to be that easy on one of my. No way, no how. Because I know you guys are capable of way more than that. So what if I did this? Oh, you are. I have no doubt that you are. What if I said this is 112? And that's X. Oh, this is, it actually gets harder than
So that's.
Is it still the warm up?
Yeah. 112 divided by.
Well, let's plug it in. Let's just do it the baby steps. It's the same exact thing we did before. Now, instead of putting a number in one place, we're going to put an X. So what's the longer segment? So you write 112. You do the same thing. I don't care how complex. You guys freak out when something looks difficult. It's not any. Now, the final one we do, you have to do more algebra. But it's not. So what's the shorter segment? There you go. How do we solve that?
You have 2 X and you divide by 2.
You divide by 2. Not 12. It's significantly higher than 12, but yes, right concept. What is it? 56? So again, it's the same problem over and over again. It's just I'm making the algebra a little bit difficult. So here's the final. This is about as hard as it can get, at least for my quiz. So if you can do this one, and I want you all to try to do this one, because again, this is what's going to be on your quiz. If I say this, I get this wrong every single time. Every time I make it, I get it. It comes out to a weird number. So let's try this. Oh, no, wait, right. I got that backwards again. Ha, I messed it up again. Why do I keep doing it? I mess it up every single time. It goes over here. There. So now I want you to tell me how long is the shorter segment. No, you can't, but you can use that. We'll do it on, I want everybody doing it separately. If you want to do it on the whiteboard, that's fine. Write it small though, so although everybody should be practicing on their own anyway. How long is shortest? Oh, is there not one over there? Here you go. Here. Not because of my arm, but because of the catch. I catch it. How long is the shorter segment? Go. My home. You started off so well. You start off well every day. Here, you do that. You're good, yeah. Oh, I'm holding Nicole, so let her at least write an equation down, and I'll let her go. Is that what you're waiting on? So let me let her write that down and go, and then I'll let you do that stuff. She's gonna be super fast today. Did you write an equation down? Oh, yeah, do it. Fire. Why do you think I'm not gonna grab check? Oh, that's close. Oh, so what is the longer segment? What is the longer segment? So you're just following that. So now I have it on this side. What's the longer segment in that picture? What is in the position of the longer segment? I just don't really know what's in that position. Just did it twice. I'm gonna stitch you up. Then you better start doing it. You don't. I just did it twice. No, you don't. Why are you saying that? It was like 2 seconds ago. You didn't.
Yes, I did. I did.
You're staying in. Come here.
Why? I have to go to the bathroom.
No, you can meet them later. Come here.
Who?
Whoever you're meeting up.
Nobody else.
It is, I put.
Well, then why are you gone for so long when you leave my class? Here, sit down.
I'm not sitting right there.
Then you're not going. If you want to go, you'll sit here and we can be done in like 30 seconds.
You don't know math.
So here's well, he hadn't been any better, so here's the equation. The longer segment is 2 times the shorter. This is the longer segment, right? It's longer. That part of that red segment is longer than that part. So what's in that longer segment?
What do you mean?
This is the red segment right here. So from here to here is the long, right? Because the whole red line is that whole thing. So it's broken into 2 smaller ones. Out of those 2, which is longer? The one on the left or the one on the right? One on the right is the longer segment. So we just take whatever's written. So that's saying it's you guys yell, you're right next to each other. I can't even hear myself over you guys. So whatever is in the like literally it's written where the longer segment is. I just write that to replace the longer segment. That's the length of the longer segment. That's what they're telling you. It's weird, like it's an X and a 9 and a 7, but that's representing the length of that segment. 9x subtract 7 is what I replaced that with. 2 times is just part of the formula. So now what do I write there? Where's the shorter segment?
Off like 3.
Yeah, we're gonna get focused. So what's in the place where you said right there?
What do you mean?
Like what is there? I just wrote 9x subtract 7.
Oh, that equation.
So say it.
3x plus.
Yes, that's all you gotta do. No, it's not.
What?
You heard me. Better not be like that. Well, I don't want to solve it yet because they're supposed to be simple. You better, that last thing I said, you better not read.
I don't do that.
Better not.
Go.
No.
What are you doing, man? You said.
Jeremiah, again, bring that point every class. This is the last time I'll say it. After that, I'll just write you up and you do whatever you want.
It's not 5.3.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I might have changed the number by accident. Let me see. Yeah, I don't think that's right. I don't believe that's accurate. Let's see. Layla always gets it right. She says you're wrong.
What if she's wrong? We stop smacking her lips, smack her lips all the time.
Well, I will tell you, she's wrong also.
Yeah. So maybe
I'm not, but she got that part right. You're just not done.
She finished. Maybe she got that part right. Oh, yeah, I'm so.
You don't know me.
Oh, that's what I asked. Ah, see what I did there? You guys are still actually wrong.
Yeah, I know.
She's just not done. You're wrong.
Oh, no, I got it.
And you're not done.
Wait, so it's not 19.9?
Well, that is not the answer to this question. You have.
Not here.
Oh.
What's that?
This one is you.
So far, nobody's got it right.
Are
No.
you talking about the algebra part we're gonna do? I put 60.
Oh, you forgot to do the.
Right.
No, I didn't.
I 15.
No, this is kind of so all of that. There's some different.
Like, makes it good.
Oh.
Right? Whole thing.
Do we find X, plug it into the.
There you go.
I need it. I got it. I got it. Gill, I got it.
Can't really do tutoring after school anymore with the flag. So, and you guys first lunch, is that what that?
I can.
All right, let's talk more, because I know you were the line.
Mr. Gill.
Yeah, that's the right answer. There we go.
I carried, I just started.
Carry along back.
That-
That, oh.
Oh,
Oh, did you copy down what I did?
no, bro, stop.
We do need to get to the point.
Bro,
Don't remember. Excellent, like I said.
I'm gonna.
I'll use a little glass. Alright, so people are in okay shape on it. We're gonna go through it. That is still wrong. And you haven't made a mistake yet, but it's wrong. Figure that out. Semantics.
Oh, so 5, and then also, that means 50.
You haven't made a mistake. Ha ha ha, good catch. I'm sure you're correct now.
Simple algebra.
Okay, I think I got it.
Alright, so I think we're in pretty good shape.
I think I got it now.
Now, remember though, I didn't ask. Oh, yeah, well. It's not. Oh, I didn't ask.
Why?
But I asked.
I'm waiting for his phone.
About plenty marking.
So
There you go. Hear what you just said? I'm gonna go over it anyway. Alright, so here's the last thing we're doing, and then you have the rest of the class. I'll solve it out real fast. If you don't know how to do the algebra, then you need to work on your algebra. We can't. So we have 9x subtract 7. If you want to go, Kira, we're kind of at that point. I don't know when she'll be back. If you still want to go, just go ahead and run out. If they ask you for a pass, say person with our pass is gone. 2 times 3x is 6x. And then 2 times 4 is 8. So that's your equation. Shh, gentlemen, shh. When you are solving for a variable, regardless of the equation, but especially an equation like this, it might help to remember that's what you want it to look like, or it could look like this. You want x to be the only thing on one side. On the other side, you want one number left over. That's it. That's all that should be left when you solve. So just remember, that's where you're trying to get to. I don't care which side x is on, but somehow if I've got x's on both sides, I need to get rid of them on one of the sides. Because there's no x over here. So, or over here. So I need to get rid of x's on one of the sides. I like to start with the lowest one, because then my numbers stay positive. I get 3x, subtract 7, equals 8. So again, now I have all the x's on one side, but I want to just have x. I don't want any numbers on this side. Well, I'm on the left, so I can do that one. So I want to get rid of that -7 and that 3. You start with the 7. I'm not going to go into a full explanation of why we start there. Again, if you need to practice algebra, that's got to be on your own time. That was, the distributor property. I had to, you have to put, oh, you have to put parentheses around the 3x plus 4 that was up in the figure. I'm multiplying 2 times this whole thing. I'm not just multiplying 2 times 3x.
That's still.
Well, I just haven't done anything yet. I still have the 7. I'm about to do something to it now.
Oh,
So I got 15 now. So now I have 3x is 15. Last step, divide by 3, divide by 3. So x was 5, but what do you have to do?
Put it back in.
Or look at the question. I didn't say solve for x. I did that on purpose. So now if I know x is 5, this is that equation for the shorter side. 3 times 5 plus 4. If you do all the math on that, 15 plus 4 and 19. That's your question you're gonna have on that type of problem. Pretty much just like that.
easy work.
Light work. We call that light work.
Light work. We could have just done that instead of plugging it back.
Well, I did plug it back there.
I did all it is.
Well, I plugged it, but I plugged it in. It was 3 times x, so I plugged in 5 for x. I don't care if you show the math on that. Is that what you're talking about? You said 15 plus 4?
No, I did.
What'd you do?
3 times 5 plus 4.
Oh, no, you don't have to do. Now, what some people did, and it's not a bad idea, some people also calculated the longer side. And they came up with 38 if they did it right. Now, I know I'm correct because this, remember, the longer side has to be twice the shorter side, and 38 is twice 19. So it's not a bad idea to still figure out the other side, and you can kind of check logic in your work to see if you think you did it right. You didn't have to do it, but it's not a bad idea. Several people did that, actually. All right, so we're done. I've given you pretty much exactly what's going to be on there for 2 of the different things. Yes.
You're my first period, right? You did like
I don't even remember what we did Monday. What did we do Monday? Is there pages? Is that what we worked on? Do you have the pages? The 361 through. I think I still have some books. I mean, I just went, we've done everything, like what I reviewed with everything we've done the whole week. You need to know which problems to do, so we're gonna think that first and then I'll do.
we didn't do for
Yeah, if I ever forget to do something, I say I'm gonna come back. I hope you guys hold me to that. I forget. For which one? Did you say there was something I was supposed to come back to?
we're talking about him.
Oh, okay. Because
Not
in
our
some,
first period class.
in some classes I didn't get to some pieces and we were supposed to come back and sometimes I forget to come back, but then I might need so.
I was talking about our class. But
Oh, shoot, I didn't do the new lesson. So in this class, I gotta do it too. So let me write it. So we'll do the new lesson before you. Oh, so moving forward, Friday is your practice day. I will introduce a new lesson quickly on that day, and I need to review the last piece of this, the altitude and it's called ortho center or something like that. And that there's not really any math to do with that, so that's a quick one. And then you'll practice after I do the new lesson, which I don't know what I've done yet. And then Monday, we're doing something totally different. Yeah. So. I will show it to you. I'm not gonna give it to you. If I can get it down. All right. I want to come up, I'll show it to you. Let me ask you this question. Would you guys rather just do the new? So normally I do the new lesson and it's not on the quiz. We could do the new lesson Friday. No, there's not enough. Then you still have to practice. Wait. Never mind. You do it already. Mark here. Nope. I remember these things.
All right, that's the next one as well.
Yeah.
At least have to get some. Take this back.
So you missed probably the explanation. Oh, yeah, you missed one. Wait, who just that? Oh, you got, I'm sorry, I thought it was something else. Never mind. It wasn't. It wasn't.
I remember I did. No, it's not. I was not. I still.
It doesn't have any room. Yeah. All right, Pharrell, I came up with yours first. If you want to come up here, what do you want?
I mixed a lot.
So you got the equation correct on this, you should have been equal, you made them. Just be careful. So
This is triangle.
okay, which one are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about the very first quiz?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, different one. That one, it's gonna take me longer to find that one. That was a while back. So if you want to know the last bit, right? That we just put in or the very first one? Well, again, whatever you want. If you want to know the recent one, just try on top. So you guys, let me go through real quick. So I start him. So you made one little error, but unfortunately, it was a very important one. Instead, and again, this may just be a language.
Because I'm probably right next to him. Good.
Oh, I didn't know, I'm sorry, I didn't think off that, that wouldn't. I think it's not. Oh, yes. Yeah, it would be. So just, you know, and, but you can take, there were only 2 questions for that grade, to go to. I can give you just those 2 to take. And be careful. I don't give anybody books, but do you need pages? Go over there, the books that are at the bottom. Right, tear out page 361 to 382.
Sir, my parent wants to.
No, I don't ever let anybody leave early. Nope. I know teachers do, but we are told by our, I don't understand how teachers do it, because our principal, that's why that's a sound. No, not to do it. Teachers still do it. Like you'd be fired like that in the job.
What's?
The biggest boss told you how to do something, you just did it.
Oh,
Like that. Teachers do it all the time. Not my world.
Yeah.
The teachers. Don't leave. What are you doing? Oh. Actually, in
No, you want
this,
to
I haven't signed.
Good.
Yeah.
My fault, bro.
He did. sign.
Oh, one of these and one of these.
We did this. You want to find. Oh, shoot, I gotta stop the recording. I hope you guys didn't say anything inappropriate because it's still recording. Like a goal.
I didn't see.
I'm gonna go back and listen to what you said.
I didn't say anything.
I'm gonna go, I'll find out.
They said the N word.
I'm gonna find out. So they're probably talking about me.
No.
Mr. Gill, so sorry.
What?
Yo, I can get a drawing.